This is the end. Yes, this is the end. Beautiful friend, the end. Today I'm going to be talking about This is the End. I have the Blu-ray here, though it's most likely on Netflix. I fucking love this movie. Maybe I'm supposed to like lead into that a little bit more, but I fucking love this movie. I find it so funny, so original, and just so bizarre that you know, if you love these types of actors and these types of comedies, I mean, this is just, no pun intended, heaven. So I mean, of course, there's going to be people who don't agree with that, who kind of feel that, you know, don't really like that group that much, you know, like Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill, whatever. You know, oh, those guys suck. Why do they keep making comedies? Well, I mean, one, this movie kind of beats you to the punch with that anyway, and two, why are you still watching their movie? I never understand that. Like, you know, people say this movie sucked, you know, so and so's not funny. Why are you watching it? I mean, there's been enough movies for you to kind of take an educated guess as to what you're not going to like. Anyway, I think it's just a crazy and very awesome concept. You know, kind of what they call, you know, kind of an overused phrase, meta kind of concept to it, where you have all these comedic actors. You know, you have Seth Rogen, Jay Baruchel, James Franco, Danny McBride, and Jonah Hill, Craig Robinson, and appearances here and there of other actors, all playing themselves, taking place in this big party at James Franco's house, and then, wouldn't you know it, the apocalypse fucking happens, and they have to fight for survival, which, that's a weird concept for a movie, but what I really like about it is one, how they kind of lead into it, with all that kind of poking fun at each other kind of stuff, which continues throughout the entire fucking movie, of course, but, you know, they're taking shots at each other that, I mean, any other person would take, you know? So they don't really kind of restrain themselves, which is what I love, you know? They do make fun of each other a lot, to the point where you're like, they talk like we talk, what the fuck? So I think that makes it kind of an even better experience to watch the movie. And of course, you know, there's all these cameos here and there. We have, you know, Rihanna is in a cameo, Michael Cera, and, well, Christopher Mintz-Plasse and Jonah Hill, like a little Superbad reunion, which is kind of cool. Paul Rudd is in it. Kevin Hill is actually in it for a little bit. Aziz Ansari, but the main cast is, of course, you know, these guys here, which we see because, you know, people die and stuff. But it's really, really funny in that, and just the fact that they could have done this concept, you know, like the whole playing themselves, making fun of each other kind of thing, under any kind of concept, but here it's the fucking apocalypse, like, not really apocalypse, like the rapture, a biblical rapture, where, you know, as it goes in scripture, the, you know, good of heart, pure people go up into heaven, and, you know, the other people stay down. And they're kind of wondering, one, hey, we're not that bad. Why are we still down here? Two, how are we going to survive this mess? And, you know, there's a lot of scenes where, you know, they're kind of struggling to make up a plan to stay alive, basically. And though when I was watching it, I pretty much had an inkling that this was the case, but apparently, as I've read, a lot of the dialogue is improvised, which you can totally tell. So, I mean, there's a lot of just kind of riffing. It's like watching, you know, like a comedic sparring session, which I think is pretty amusing. Just seeing, you know, kind of what happens when these guys are let loose, and the results are, I feel, comedic gold. And the thing is, you have a comedy like this, which I really appreciate because it is just so unpredictable. Like, to watch, like, a screwball comedy, you know, where it's very sophomoric. There are, you know, dick jokes, you know, sex jokes, you name it, immature kind of humor. To have a movie like this, to not really know, like, hey, what's going to be happening in this movie, that's pretty cool, I think. So to not really know where they're going to go with it, pretty much, you know, anything that they can come up with happens in this movie, and it sure does, because, I mean, there's, you know, messed up imagery, which I won't give quite away, but, you know, there's funny stuff, like, there's a whole subplot with Emma Watson from the Harry Potter movies. She's one of the survivors, too. And I won't say much more, but there's a group of cannibals out there, which leads to some disastrous results. So it's just very unpredictable, and there's just so many great stuff. Like in this movie, there's references to fucking Rosemary's Baby, to The Exorcist, which I just find irresistible. And the fact that all these guys are kind of poking fun at each other at the same time, that's just something that we haven't quite seen before. It's like watching a roast almost, but there's actually a narrative to the movie. And you know, with this kind of modern brand of humor, with these guys, specifically these guys who are just tremendous sports, and more than I'd say, you know, we give them credit for, because with celebrities now more than ever, we have this kind of sense of ownership about them, where we feel like we can say anything at all about them, even though we're not really connected to them. So, you know, Bob, who lives next door or whatever, I wouldn't, you know, call him an asshole or anything like that, but Seth Rogen, no problem, or whatever. Or maybe, you know what, Bobby is a fucking asshole, but that's besides the point. You wouldn't see a movie like this, you know, in previous kind of comedic generations past, basically. Like, I tried to kind of, after watching it for the first time, I kind of tried to imagine what it would have been like if, like, say, kind of the comedic known actors from, say, the early 80s made this kind of movie, which would kind of be interesting, but I don't think that would ever happen. But it's kind of fun to think about, like, you know, maybe we'd have, like, Bill Murray or Dan Aykroyd in the two lead roles, maybe, like, you know, the Seth Rogen, Jay Baruchel roles. There's no doubt in my mind that the Michael Cera role would probably be played by Chevy Chase. So there's that, and maybe there'd be, you know, like maybe Gene Wilder or Richard Pryor in the movie too, kind of that era of comedians. And one thing that's totally apparent to me, that the two kind of roles that, or the two kind of people who would kind of intertwine there, very obviously the Danny McBride role, that would totally be John Belushi. And that was, you know, kind of the biggest revelation of the movie to me. Danny fucking McBride, he is fucking amazing in this movie. He has just this kind of comedic menace to him that, I mean, a lot of actors try, and he himself has tried in other roles to not that great of a success, 30 minutes or less. But here, it is kind of like this Belushi kind of role, which I thought he was fucking brilliant in the movie. He's an unpredictable force himself, and he is so good. And that's not to take away from anyone else, because everyone, I think, is great in this movie. I mean, again, they're really good sports. James Franco, Jonah Hill, poking fun of themselves. I don't know. Maybe it's an acquired taste, but I don't know. I just think this is such a great fucking movie. One of my favorite comedies of the last few years, actually. So I'd rate This Is the End unashamedly 4 stars out of 4. I am enthusiastically in love with this movie. I think it's one of the best comedies of recent years, and I think it's genius. I really do. So really, I mean, you got to check this movie out. You have kind of all the, like, Apatow productions. I think this must have been produced by Apatow. At least somewhere down the line. I'm sure he has a credit somewhere. But, you know, I do like those kinds of movies, but they maybe, like, you know, they fell from grace a little bit. But this has to be, like, my favorite one, to be totally honest. I love it. I love the movie, and I would encourage you to see it. So if it's on Netflix, give it a watch. But, you know, if it's not on Netflix, or if you don't have Netflix, I want to give you one more chance, one other kind of chance to see the movie. I happen to have a digital code right here, which I hope I just didn't reveal on camera, that expires, I believe. Oh yeah, plenty. December 31st, 2016. So plenty of time. I want someone to see this movie, or rewatch the movie, or have the movie in their digital collection. And I don't really do the digital stuff that much, so my codes just kind of tend to sit and expire. So why not give someone a chance to see it? So I want to give away the code. So I've never really done anything like this before. So this is what I'm going to do, like a code contest. So real simple rules to this contest. 1, you have to be subscribed to me. 2, comment below. Let me know you want it. But let me know your favorite Seth Rogen movie. So you can say why too. You're not required to write a novel, but, you know, let me know what your favorite Seth Rogen movie is. Comment below, and I'll put you in like a draw raffle, whatever, to win the code. And I don't know, I'll give it like a week or two or whatever, and I'll either do a different video or like PM you or something and let you know. So comment below. I want to know your favorite Seth Rogen movie. In the meantime, if you have Netflix, if it's on Netflix, if you haven't seen it, please give it a watch. This is the end. One of my faves. Great fucking movie. I love it. So until next time, unless this is the end, comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you later. Thanks so much for watching. Later.